Hey, it's Alex here with video number 3 about, well, all the pressure related to motherhood and all these sort of inspirational posts and reminders that invite us to be really great mothers, and how in receiving them, I should and sometimes do feel inspired, but a lot of the time, I actually end up feeling guilty and frustrated because they make it all sound so easy, and actually making 18 summers count, making the most of this motherhood season hasn't really come that easily to me. And I know for a fact, because I coach mamas on this stuff, that it hasn't come easily to a lot of other mamas either. So I wrote a blog about it where I kind of bring together all my ideas and beliefs around the topic, and I talk about, I talk about a lot of things, which is why I'm breaking it up into 3 videos, which you can catch right here on my YouTube channel. I talk about, how motherhood is really hard and amazing at the same time. It's hard and it's soft and it turns us into monsters, but it turns us into the most giving, heart-led people ever, and that we never imagined probably that we would feel the depths of the feelings that we feel, whether they be the frustration and the guilt, the resentment, the irritation, the impatience, the anger, the rage, or whether it be the love, the warmth, the generosity, the kindness, the concern, the desire to give so unconditionally, and to love so unconditionally, the protection, that we harbor towards our little people. There's nothing like it. So I talk about the hard, and I talk about the soft, I talk about the difficult, and I talk about the beautiful. I talk also, though, about how it's super important as a job. It's something that is critical. We wouldn't have another generation of human beings if it weren't for the work that we did as mothers. I talk about how it's influential, how we're influencing the future generation. I talk about how it's misunderstood, and this is at so many different levels, ranging from it being misunderstood in the workplace, the amount of time that maybe a mother needs to raise her children, the amount of energy it takes, to maybe within the context of a partnership. If you have a breadwinning partner who comes home and wonders what on earth you did all day, and sometimes even you ask yourself, what on earth did I do all day? So it's misunderstood. And I think most of all, and this is when I start to talk about what totally pisses me off, that it's completely undervalued. So who is it that influenced you, all the women and all the men in your life, the most? It's your mother. And what job is the most undervalued? Probably mothers. So it's a complete contradiction and a huge complexity of issues that surround our identity as mothers and our experience as mothers. I talked in the very first video also about, what we desire most, and I think we desire it most because we feel this need for it the most, and we know that our children need it the most, and that's quality time. So I talk about that, and I talk about how today modern living doesn't really give us quality time. I mean, not that it's something we need given to us, but it's something that we desire and know is necessary. And so it's something that we need to create for ourselves. But how modern living and external expectations that, yes, many of us internalize unconsciously, and then I dive into that a little bit, how all of that makes for kind of rushing around and lacking connection with ourselves and lacking connection with our little people. So what ends up happening is that we go, be more, do more, give more, but as a consequences of the going and rushing around and being so super busy, we miss out on those precious moments of being fully and completely present for our children, for our loved ones. And so then family life and those relationships becomes just the hustle and bustle of doing, as opposed to kind of the connection, the meaningful moments and connections related to being. Being properly with someone, really listening to someone, really noticing the softness of their skin or the sparkle in their eyes or the sound of their laughter. So I talk a lot about that. And then I jump into, what it is that, where does that come from? I talk a little bit about, the demands of modern motherhood, how there's this sort of perfectionism to be and do more, to look better, for our houses to be better, professionally to be kind of, on the up and up, to feel energized and sexual, to eat sort of gourmet, whole meal, organic, fresh foods, to cook and prepare those foods, to have, matching, not only outfits, but, not only stylish matching outfits, but, stylish matching homes for our kids to be in the best enrichment activities. It's just all of this, how this feeds this go, go, go culture that really does end up exhausting us and cutting into the meaningful moments and the depth of relationships, because we're just too busy taking things off the list and getting stuff done. I talk about how working mothers work so hard to be role models for their children, and at the same time to be present for their kids, but they always feel guilty, like they're never fully present either in one place or another. And how, in contrast, the stay-at-home mama, I call her, the domestic goddess, how she works so hard to be present for her kids, but feels guilty for not bringing in the money, contributing financially to the household, or maybe she feels worried about, her lack of contribution to the feminist movement because she's not role modeling that for her children. She hates being dependent. And so consequently, both the work out of the home breadwinning mama and the stay-at-home mama who isn't earning are castigating themselves for not being enough. And sometimes there's that competition, that we've all heard about between them. So I talk all about that, and I talk about how all of this needs to change. In the last week's video, I talk about what really pisses me off, and I cite some statistics around how us mamas are taking more on and our partners are not, and how that really pisses me off. I talk about how we know more about child psychology, but instead of it helping us, it's actually burdening us and making us feel worse about not getting it right. So this week, and just very briefly, because that was a really long summary, I want to talk a little bit about what we need to do in order to role model the change that we want to see in the world. And of course, this isn't true for everyone, because not everyone shares my values, but I really do believe that a good mother, the most important thing for a good mother in today's day and age, is that she has a loving relationship with herself, and that she's creating a life that is in alignment with what is most important to her, with her values. Why is that? Because that is what I think we need to role model to our children. We need to be strong. We need to be bold. We need to be confident in ourselves. We need enough space around us to have clarity, and space around us to be able to connect to all those things, right? To connect to what we value, and then to create a life that lives in alignment with that. So simply put, a good mother is one that has a loving relationship with herself, loving enough that she's able to create a life that is in alignment with what she believes to be most important, because that is what our children need to see today. I think we can all agree that the world has gone a little bit wonky, and that it's really time for us to raise a new generation of children who are conscious and bold and confident and know themselves. And so that really is kind of the point of my message this week, is that the world needs love, and we are children's educators and creators, And so we need to show, and that we need to show them that way by being, by role modeling it. We need to be, like I said, bold, confident, radiant, so that we can teach, love, speak, and act in alignment with what we believe in. And that way, our children will follow suit. So this video is really, following on something that really inspired me that came out of the Vancouver Peace Summit in September 2009, when the Dalai Lama said that the Western woman would actually change, be at the forefront of change in the world. I don't know if it needs to be Western women, but I'm taking it on board. And my entry point, my kind of the way I see me supporting this is with mothers, mostly in Europe and in North America, to help them lift themselves up so that they have the calm, the confidence, the clarity, so that they can lead this new future generation through role modeling, living lives that are in alignment with what they truly believe in. And I don't really think I have very much else to say, except that, the first step in that is to get to know and to love yourself. And so that's an invitation to all of you. So please share with me what you need to do in order to love yourself that little bit more, to get to know yourself that little bit more, to be bold, to be confident. What do you need to do as a mother to role model the change that you want to see in the world? That's the question for this week's video. Okay, beautiful. I can't wait to hear what comes up for you. Bye.